So I'm excited to be here today to recognize the final steps of a merger that brought two agencies together back in 2017. Both of which were pretty heavily involved in the early childhood development and mental health, child-adolescent mental health and crisis work that has been going on combined for over 60 years within Madison and Dane County. And today, as a combined organization, we serve over 3,000 children, young adults, families annually through our services. And we do that both in the homes and throughout the community. This work is so important. In Dane County, nearly 5,000 children under 5 years old are living in poverty. Many of those who are 4 are not well prepared for 4K in kindergarten. Louder? Okay, thanks, Maggie. Today also marks Children's Mental Health Awareness Day. That's important. 20% of children in Dane County face mental health challenges. That's about 22,000 children throughout our county. Over 11,000 students throughout Dane County schools have a behavioral health concern that impact their learning. Our young adult participants are at high risk of psychiatric hospitalization, and so we provide services to them to keep them safe and stable in the community. I'm honored to be able to say that RISE is actively involved with these children, young adults, and their families as they work toward healthy development and mental health stability so that they may thrive. Bringing our operations, our staff, our programs together under one roof will help us serve more effectively and efficiently and have the impact that you expect from the services that we provide. So that's a little bit about RISE. You'll hear a little more from our speakers. And the first speaker that I want to introduce is Naira Jordan. Naira is our board chair and came to us through the merger. She was a board member at Center for Families and then joined the RISE board. And I've been so happy that she's been on our board. She's got a lot of great strategic thinking and direction that she offers us. So, Naira, would you please come up and say a few words?
Thank you.
Closer. Thank you. First of all, I want to say to Scott and the planning team for choosing the most beautiful day. Well done. Like how you planned this, that's awesome. Thank you all for being here. As Scott said, I'm Naira Jordan. I'm chair of the board of directors for RISE. And on behalf of the entire board, I want to thank you all for taking time out of your day and coming joining us. I do want to take a moment and ask any fellow RISE board members that are here right now to raise your hand, kind of wave, stand up there, a few over here. Thank you so much. I want to thank our board for their dedication to RISE and its goal to help communities and families to thrive. As Scott said, I was on the board for Center for Families back in 2017 when we merged with community partnerships. And as a board, we were really excited for that merger, which brought together these two incredible Dane County organizations. These organizations had obvious synergies across their service offerings. So as we were having these conversations about the merger, it made sense to us. And we believe that the decision to merge has proven that out to be a good one. It has allowed RISE to serve the community more effectively and efficiently by bringing together our early childhood and mental health services, which has enabled a continuum of care from birth through young adulthood. But while we know that the merger has been successful, the ability to gain input from staff and to learn from the community in the spirit of continuous improvement makes this next stage key in not only merging services, but ensuring that as an organization, RISE is committed to leading with its values and serving in a way that is both equitable and inclusive. So we're here today to celebrate the renovation that will take our ability to serve communities even further by allowing RISE to consolidate its operations and staff in one central location to be more accessible, welcoming, and responsive to those that we serve and to the needs of the community. So on behalf of the board of directors, I want to thank you all for being here today. I want to thank Dane County Executive, United Way of Dane County, and to all of our community partners and our stakeholders and guests that are here in support of this very important capital campaign. So thank you.
Thank you, Naira. I appreciate the support. The next guest that we have, it's appropriate that we are here on Children's Mental Health Awareness Day because County Executive Joe Parisi has been, over the past quite a few years, if you're paying attention, has invested in children's mental health and mental health throughout Dane County through many, many programs, both in the schools and the community. So, and as well has helped guide us through this pandemic. So we are now here, many of us being vaccinated, can actually see each other's faces thanks to the good guidance that Dane County has given all of us. So without further ado, Joe Parisi.
Well, thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. It's really exciting to be here. I know some of you may know my wife was the director of Canopy Center during the last renovation of this building. And so I see this parking lot, and I remember pulling up in here every day with my two kids back when they were in children's seats or car seats. And now one of them just graduated from college. So life goes on. But it's really exciting and indicative of what's going on and has gone on in our community, of the continuing evolution in the partnerships and the ability to provide even more comprehensive services. And when we look at what this renovation is going to provide, we know that the more people can co-locate and take advantage of that synergy and make it easier for people to access the various services, the better the outcomes and the better we all are off for it. And also, in addition, being this close to days is really great too, to be able to help coordinate those efforts. You know, in the work that RISE does, as so many of you know, is so important, focusing on children and their families in a holistic manner. And you're such great partners with Dane County through the work with ECI, from the work through CCS, with all of the services that are available now and that you're able to provide in partnership with us. It's just so greatly appreciated. And we wish you the best moving forward with this stage. And again, going through it with my wife, I can tell you it's a little disruptive when it's happening, but it does end, and it is better, and you do get to move back and operate in a much even more efficient and productive manner. And I really look forward to coming back for the ribbon cutting and the grand opening. So thank you for everything you do for the community. We really appreciate it very much. And good luck with the project. Thanks.
Thank you, Joe, and thanks for mentioning Aaron, because I remember being in meetings here and with Aaron and all the other directors from this location. So this spot is pretty special because there has been so many services that have been provided out of this location for a long, long time. And the respite center is still operating today. They have children who are still in there right now, being served in a very kind of fun and safe way. So this building, I think, is a soft spot in a lot of people's hearts. So I'm glad that we're continuing that. And yes, and the partnership that we've had with the county has been long-standing for both organizations. So again, probably nearly 60 years of partnership with the county. Our next speaker, can speak to our other side of work, which is the early childhood, and a long-standing partnership that we have had with United Way of Dane County. Renee Moe has led the community and the drive to really begin looking more closely at two generational and probably even three generational work to make sure that children and babies are coming into this world and given the opportunities that they need to thrive. So Renee, would you please come up and say a few words?
Thank you, Scott, and thank you all for being here. Congratulations to you, Scott, to your team, to your board of directors on this magnificent day. I remember the day that Scott and Eileen Mershart came to United Way and said, we're thinking about this merger. Would United Way be supportive of that? And around the table, we all just thought, what a brilliant marriage of these wonderful services to have that continuum of early childhood, mental health, trauma-informed care, and to really center families. What RISE knows how to do is really make sure that caregivers and children are supported in a holistic way. And we know that by investing in families, that makes our families stronger, our neighborhoods and communities stronger, and that helps our whole community thrive. And the work that RISE does is so important. So thank you to all of you who make this work possible. We partner in two very important programs. One is called Welcome Baby and Beyond, and one is Parent Child Plus. And in those programs, we are able to have amazing, brilliant professionals from RISE go into families' homes, talk about their goals, really think about what the babies want, what parents want, what we all need collectively as a community, and help families walk side by side, get more confident in their parenting, get those babies ready for kindergarten. Over 90% of babies are kindergarten ready across every facet, and parents report consistently how much more competent they are and how much more well-equipped they are to be their child's first teacher. And most important, when we sit down with moms and dads and caregivers and say, tell us about this program, they say we are so excited when people come to our door. Our babies look forward to it, we look forward to it, and people are nice to us when they come. And when you think about other challenges that people are going through when they're living this world with a lot of stress, to be able to have that care, that competency, that trust, and that relationship is so important. So congratulations on effective results. We see lead partnership from RISE in the early childhood zones, another great collaboration with the county, making sure that we bring together housing, employment, and early childhood supports, all with help to make sure families and neighborhoods can thrive. So we are just delighted to be a great partner, and congratulations again. Thank you all for being here, and we're just so delighted to see what's yet to come.
Thank you, Renee. As you can see that, as she was talking and as Joe was talking, we merged in 2017 two organizations, but mergers technically are really happening throughout our community. These partnerships that are so synergistic. I mean, to think about the early childhood work, the mental health work, the Northside Early Childhood Zone, the partnership around that between the county and the city and United Way. So there's a lot of this stuff happening all the time that we don't call mergers. We just do our work. But there are a lot of great partnerships that are happening throughout our community that we just need to recognize. And many nonprofits are working on behalf with one another. And Days was one of those that was mentioned, who is just down the block from us, and we're so happy to have Days so close to us because there's so many referrals back and forth between those two organizations on behalf of parents who need additional supports in their children. So when I think of mergers, I think of partnerships and collaborations, and we just are blessed to have so many of those. Well, you've heard from some of our partners in the work that we're doing. The building, the groundbreaking, is another part of what's kind of bringing the final step to that merger. And so I want to introduce our next guest, Doug Hirsch, who's a principal with Potter Lawson. They were one of our first sit-down organizations where we began to vision and think through what this could look like and what we're needing as an organization going forward. And the Potter Lawson team was really instrumental in helping us kind of bring that vision to life. So, Doug, if you wouldn't mind coming up and talking a little bit.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. We are so thankful to live in this community where we have all these great people, all these people that are here today, and all the people that rise and the good work that they do here today. The services they provide are just critical to the quality of life for so many families in Dane County. I'm a principal at Potter Lawson, and I've worked at Potter Lawson and lived in the community for like 32 years. But Potter Lawson's been around for 108 years here in Madison, the oldest architecture firm. And we know how important it is to have a strong community to live in. We're honored to be able to give back to our community and work with local nonprofits. Throughout my career, we've worked with Days down the street, which is another that you've heard a few times, very important project. Met Mark this morning from the YMCA, and we've done a lot of work with YMCA, the Mark Center, a Grace Hospice, and United Way as well. We worked with them as well. So we're really honored to be involved with this part of the community. And we know, the work that RISE does and the people here is so important for the community. We're excited to be able to provide a nice space for them. And we know that some of the work that they do can be very emotional, can be very stressful, and our little part is to provide a nice office for them to come back to where they can work together. So it was exciting to try to fit both groups into the existing building, where they can, provide one-stop shop for their clients and make it more easier for their clients to find them and get to them, but also to bring everybody together here and to work together. So we've created spaces that there's a space in the building that's a common space that you might see in the back where they can all come together, either in dining or working together, and to create sort of collaboration and synergies between the different staffs that will be in the building. We've created kind of a new welcoming and playful entry for families and kids, and also provide safety in the building as well for the staff. So, what else? Oh, also we've worked to try to make it modern for them and to create workstations that will facilitate the work that they do from now and into the future. We're very fortunate to have you in our community, and we're very honored to have been a part of the project. And along with our partners at Findorff and everybody's that worked on the team from our office, we've been very excited to be a part of it. So thank you.
Thank you, Doug. So there's the design and architecture part of this. And so, I didn't go to school for construction. I was in the helping profession. So I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would be looking at plans and talking about placements of windows and all that kind of stuff. But I enjoy it, but it's not part of my everyday work. So I really do rely on those that actually specialize in that work to kind of bring their expertise to us. And so the next stage in the project was really deciding who do we bring on to actually do the work. And so we, like most good projects, we did our due diligence. We put an RFP out and brought in a handful of construction companies. And we're so happy that out of that emerged Findorff. They have been partners with us prior to this. They've made some donations to both organizations in the past. And they came to the table not only with high expertise and professionalism with construction, but they also understood community. And that was one of the things that really stood out to us as we were making that final decision. And they also had experience working with Operation Fresh Start. And Operation Fresh Start, for those that you may not know, is a kind of a work opportunity for young people who might be struggling in the community and trying to find their way through education and get employment. And it's an opportunity for them to work in the trades. So many of the children that we work with in some of our mental health programs may also work at Operation Fresh Start. So the opportunity to actually bring OFS in here to do some work with us and with Findorff was really a special moment, and gave us an opportunity to really choose Findorff as our next as our construction company. So I'd like to introduce Vice President at Findorff, Jeff Tubbs. Come up.
Thank you, Scott. Like he said, my name is Jeff Tubbs, Executive Vice President with Findorff, and super thrilled to be here today along with all of you. Scott, I just want to say congratulations. Congratulations on the merger, and congratulations on everything that RISE does, but maybe more importantly, or as importantly, congratulations on going forward with this during this last year. All of us know this last year, everything was turned upside down, right? And I remember having a meeting with Scott, and he was really wringing his hands. He's like, should we go ahead this year? Should we wait? What's fundraising going to look like in the middle of a pandemic? And he had the courage, and the board had the courage to say, no, there's a huge need today, and there's going to probably be a bigger need tomorrow. So we need to get going, and we need to go ahead. And so thank you for doing that. And I want to thank the board for selecting Findorff, as Scott talked about. And then Scott said, hey, Jeff, when you're up there, I want you to just mention, why is this project important to you? Why is Findorff, drawn towards projects like this? And like he said, and actually like Doug said, if you look at our slogan, it's character, community, craftsmanship. And the thing that's super important to us is that community. You know, we've been blessed to be in this community now 131 years. And, you know, our forefathers, if you will, the Findorffs, they got involved very early in helping establish the Violet Zoo, early donors and construction workers on St. Mary's Hospital. They were even Red Feather members, which I think is the original or early United Way days. So giving back to the community is something that Findorffs have always done, and they've instilled in all of us, is that you really need to strengthen the community, those places where you live, work, and play. Make sure that you're always giving back to the community. And so it's a thrill for us to be able to be here and to work with Rise. And, you know, everything you do is just so impressive. So thank you for that opportunity. And thank you, Doug. Working with Potter Lawson, actually, that relationship goes back 100 years as well. And so we're thrilled to be here working with Potter Lawson. And I got to give a real big shout out to those that are really making this stuff happen. The guys in the back here that are trying to hide, you know. So Caleb Anderson in the middle and Marcos Dominguez, you know, with the high vis on. Those are the people that are really making this work. So thank you guys for doing that. So back to Scott.
Thank you, Jeff. I had spoken a little bit to Jeff this morning, just saying how pleased I am to be working with both Findorff and Potter Lawson. I feel like we're in really good hands. I know the construction and the craftsmanship and the attention to detail is top notch, and I want to second Marcos's and Caleb's attention to all of that, and keeping the communication really strong between our organization and them. Again, those of us at Rise, we did not go to school for this, so we are really putting our trust in them, and I really believe that we have a really good, solid team in both Potter Lawson and Findorff, so thank you all. And finally, the extremely important part of this project is how do we invest it in, how do we make it, how do we pay for it? And so we were planning to launch a capital campaign in April of 2020, and we had just chosen Findorff in early March of 2020. And as Jeff said, we did some hand wringing and some pausing and had to figure out what to do next. And so, but the capital campaign part of that was what, for me, kept me up at night. It's like, now what do we do? What is giving going to look like during a pandemic? When can we launch that? And so constantly we're asking these questions, and I don't know. At some point we said, this project has to go forward. And before I introduce the next guest, I want to say that the pandemic actually in some ways helped us in that we were able to vacate the building and do all of this work in one phase, which is both a time saver and a money saver. So that was the first benefit. And I already lost the second benefit. It's one of those days, but it'll come back. It'll come back to me. So thank you for being such gracious guests. Well, I'll go on, and when I have a chance to wrap up, it'll probably come back to me as I'm sitting down. But anyway, the most important part of that is really engaging our community in the campaign part. And I have found throughout my years that we have a very generous community. And two of the people who some of you probably know that probably don't need introductions, who are very generous partners, contributors in our community, step forward with one of the largest lead gifts for our project. And so I'll just wait. This is important. So they stepped forward with one of the largest lead gifts to help get us really kind of launched into our capital campaign. So I'd like to ask Lau and B. Christensen to come up here and say a few words.
Thank you, Scott. We are very pleased to be here today for this groundbreaking. As many of you know, we as a couple are very passionate and committed to supporting worthy causes in our community, in Dane County, and particularly for the less fortunate, for the underdogs, for those with special needs. And all it takes is a look at the website of RISE, as we did this morning, to be refreshed on just how much good RISE does in facilitating programs that so directly affect these people in our community. But these forms of assistance that RISE is so important facilitating, they don't happen in a vacuum. They take infrastructure, something we've seen in the news lately, infrastructure, right? So, and it's both, it's all kinds and it's broad, but definitely a good piece of that is bricks and mortar. And when it's to facilitate and make more efficient and more effective the direct delivery of human services, that definitely is part of our philanthropy. So when Scott Strong was kind enough to meet with us and give us a walkthrough and tell us about this project, we said, okay, we're in. We're delighted to be part of this.
This is kind of like preaching to the choir. All of you might remember when you were little and all the things that you were able to do and all the care that you got from your parents. There are so many young people in our community that don't have what we grew up with. And so Lau and I, as he said, give to the unfortunate. And so we want all the children that RISE is working towards to rise like we did. And you couldn't ask for anything more than a community such as RISE that says, I'll give you everything I got. And so that's why we give, and we would give everything we had to make all these young people happy and can grow into big people like we are. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. What a very kind and thoughtful words. And I just so appreciate the support that you've offered us, and the fact that I had just met you in November, and within a week you had emailed me with the notice of the gift was just really touching. I can't tell you how important that was. And I want to say also that unfortunately our campaign chair, Deirdre Garten, is not able to be here today. She's in Alaska. Her grandson is graduating from high school. Otherwise, Deirdre would be also up here speaking on our behalf. Deirdre has been such a dear guide in this process and helping us kind of really envision what this campaign could look like and how do we engage our community. So I just wanted to say also thank you to Deirdre for her support and wishing that she could be here. And I know that she's probably enjoying her grandson's graduation. And I did remember the thing I was going to say, which is the other benefit of the merger or of the pandemic is whenever you do a project like this, the question is, are you adding any square footage to the space? What's your footprint going to look like? Will you have enough space for the future? And honestly, we planned for it that we would have some opportunity and room for growth, but it did make me a little nervous. The only footprint we're adding is a entryway here, which is going to be helpful, but it's not necessarily going to offer a lot of growth. And so the pandemic, even though we were preparing ourselves as an organization pre-pandemic to have staff be flexible enough to work remotely because they are in the community quite frequently and they can work from home, it hadn't totally been embraced. So this really gave us an opportunity to embrace virtual work, and it's taken off really well. So I feel very confident that what we're doing here today is going to last for a long time and allow us to be able to continue to grow and provide services to even more children and families and young adults that we serve. So that was the other important part of this pandemic, which, if there's a silver lining, those are two of them. I also noticed, as we're talking about capital campaign, there are a couple people in the crowd that I've noticed that have also been that have given, And Diane Ballweg, who is quietly sitting up front, is another person I met during this campaign. And Diane was the very first person to actually make a major gift to our campaign. And I just so appreciated hearing from Diane that she wanted to give and asking how she can be helpful. And I actually met her up in her apartment as I was delivering food, thanks to Deirdre, who we did a remote virtual event to kind of kick off the campaign. So Deirdre, who owns Quivy's Grove, provided meals, and then I was delivering some of those meals to some of the people who could then listen to our program. And Diane invited me up, and she was having a small get-together, and there I was, kind of caught off guard, not expecting I was going to be given a kind of a testimonial to this campaign, and I'm in my mask and in my jeans, and like, oh, okay, I can do this. but you were so welcoming, Diane, and I really appreciate the questions that you asked and engaged me in that conversation. You clearly care about this community and the people in the community, so thank you for investing in us. I appreciate that. And Corinne Rainey Moores with Union Point Health Meritor has also been a longtime supporter of RISE, has also helped with the campaign. I appreciate that partnership. It's really nice to see people in the audience who are supporters of ours and give back in such a generous way. And Becky Steinhoff was here. Even though it's not towards the campaign, we have gotten some support from the SPL Legacy Foundation as well. So just thank you to everyone who's supported us. And then the last person I want to have come up here, just because you need to know who's behind all the scenes, is Maggie Wade. She's our Director of Development and is kind of the brains behind all of this. So Maggie, and she's going to give a little housekeeping stuff and.
I'm also much shorter than you, Scott. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out today. As Scott mentioned, I'm Maggie Wade. I'm the Director of Development here. For those whom I've not met, I'm the one that's emailing you. Nice to meet you. Before I get into the housekeeping stuff, as he mentioned, I want to thank Rebecca, Doug, Scott from Potter Lawson, Nancy Mayak, Caleb, and Marcos from Findorff for collaborating with me on making this event happen today. Findorff, literally the crew, shifted their entire schedule for this week to make this event happen. So I'm so thankful for that. Thank you. I had to write it down to make sure I remembered that. And thank you all. Today, I'm reiterating a lot of what people have already been saying. Thank you all for showing up here today. We're so thrilled to see all of you here in person. This is, for me, I know personally, my first in-person event since COVID, and it's so good to see all of you and meet with you and see faces outside of a square in a box. So when we talk a lot about the work that we do at RISE, a large portion of that is our community partners. We can't do what we do without your support. And so we're so very grateful for the speakers who gave such kind words today, and for all of you for coming here today. It's so important to see you and just get to check in with you to see how you're doing, and just say we're incredibly grateful for your continuous support, even through a pandemic. So before I get into the wrap up, I just wanted to really recognize some of the contributors to our campaign thus far who have given major gifts, and I'd like to read them off if that's okay. These have been just very crucial in helping us keep that momentum going with the renovation project and the campaign, and we just, again, are just incredibly grateful. So I'd love to thank the Lowen B. Christensen Charitable Foundation, the Pleasant T. Rowland Foundation. Yes, let's go ahead. The W. Jerome Frauchi Foundation, MG&E Foundation, the Oscar Rinnenbaum Foundation, Diane Ballweg, Joe and Mary Ellen Sensenbrenner, the Thomas Terry Family Foundation, Joe and Diana Krupp, UW Health, Unity Point Health Meritor and Courts, Sue Reisling and Joanne Berg, the John J. Frauchi Family Foundation, the Andres Manufacturing Company Foundation, J.H. Findorff and Son, Inc., and the Exchange Club of Sun Prairie. Thank you so much. And finally, I just wanted to offer up opportunities if you're ever interested in learning more information about the renovation project or our capital campaign. I do have some a limited number of folders in the back on the table where all the goodie bags are. We actually have extra goodie bags, by the way, so if you're hungry, please take some. But we have some folders, and they have all the information about our campaign and our project. And we also have all the information on our website, so if you visit risewisconsin.org, there on the main page you can kind of see the drop down, and it has all of the information from an introduction from Deirdre Garden herself. There's the beautiful design renderings from Potter Lawson. You can see some of those there. And it really talks about the impact of our community partners, the work that we're doing with all of you, the goal of the project. And you can even see a before and after tour with Scott we filmed last fall, where he kind of walks through the Fordem locations before renovations had started, and you see those after shot renderings, so you can see what it's going to look like later on this year. And of course, later this year we will be hosting a grand opening in person, hopefully, if the numbers continue to, the COVID situation gets better. And we're happy to invite you all to that as well. So if you ever have any questions, feel free to contact myself or Scott. We're happy to jump on a call. We're happy to have a virtual and eventually in-person lunches if you're comfortable. And also we would love to just check in, because we always like to check in with our partners in the community just to see how you're going. And that's been very prevalent, especially during COVID. So I'm gonna give it back to Scott. Thank you so much for coming, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Maggie. Well, again, thanks so much for attending today, and you're taking interest in RISE and kind of following our project as we go through. And I can't thank our community partners enough for the trust that they put in RISE to provide services to some of our most important people in our community, the children, the young adults, and the families that need those extra supports so they can thrive. So thank you so much. What we're going to do next is those that are up here, the speakers, we're going to do the traditional shovel in the dirt experience, which would be fun, so we can get dirty. And then also those members of the board or board committees can come up, and we'll do that a second round, and then anyone here from our oversight or building oversight committee can come up, and we'll take another photo op with that. And then at the end, if anybody's interested in walking through and just looking at what the work is, the work that's being done, we're happy to take some tours through with masks on to accommodate that. So just stick around and let us know if you're interested in a tour. So again, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking your time out this morning, and have a great weekend.